The voice in your head isn't actually you. The thoughts you claim as your own aren't really produced by you. Today, I'm going to show you that deliberate process of thinking is actually an illusion, a myth. Most people believe they are actively thinking, but in reality, they are merely listening to thoughts arising on their own. What I'm about to tell you will help you understand yourself and your mind better. You'll discover how to gain real control and power over your mind and your reality. Before we dive deeper, please support my channel by giving it a like and subscribing. So, let's find truth together. Have you ever had thoughts that you don't like? Thoughts that you were trying to stop, but they appear again and again? Or maybe random thoughts, strange ideas, even images you found frightening? What about overthinking and different kinds of negativity? If you really were the master of your mind, the creator of thoughts, wouldn't you be able to fully control them? How come there are your own thoughts which surprise or shock you? The moment you try to control or suppress thoughts, you realize how little power you actually have over them. The more effort you make to stop thinking, the louder the mental chatter becomes. So, then who or what produces your thoughts? In reality, thoughts are created by our subconscious mind that is beyond our control. It is a byproduct of our brain activity. You can view your brain as a large, unseen computer that constantly processes information. Your subconscious is the operating system, using your experiences and beliefs to produce your internal dialogue. And the mind chatter is like TV broadcasting constantly running in the background. Yes, you have some kind of control over it. You can switch channels, but the contents aren't really produced by you. How come you fully identify yourself with this voice? This identification is a survival mechanism. Its function is to keep you separate from external dangers, saving energy and ready to fight for your body and life. It wants to keep you in your comfort zone, because its main goal is to keep you alive, not necessarily happy or thriving. Although like many survival mechanisms, it is a bit outdated, adapted to a different environment, and also tries to cover areas that are beyond his competence. To keep you stuck in this identification, it constantly tells you stories about yourself, produces fears of future and regrets of the past. It constructs an imagined persona. It doesn't care if what it says is truth or not. More important is to keep talking no matter what. The nature of the mind is movement. This narrative is something like a living being that tries to survive on its own, and it lives only as long as it speaks. Where do all these stories about yourself come from? It's a product of collective consciousness spanning millions of years of human history. It's not only you who worries about the money and bills, it's many generations of your ancestors. They come from the outside, from your society, your family, and your culture. Think about what you believe about being successful, having relationships, or even just who you are. Did you pick those beliefs, or did they just come from the world around you? So you're not a thinker, you're a listener. But what happens when you listen to that voice inside your head and trust it, and believe everything it says? Every time you listen to its stories, you make it stronger. Imagine you have a new idea for something you want to create. But then, the voice says, what if you fail? What will people say? You're not good enough. If you believe it, you won't even try. That voice stops you from doing what you could. This happens in everything you do, your relationships, your job, your health. That voice makes your fears and doubts bigger, keeps you from trying new things, even if they could make you happy. The real problem isn't just missing out on chances. It's losing trust in yourself. When you listen to the voice instead of your gut feeling, you start to doubt yourself. This makes it harder to break free later. The good thing is, you don't have to make that voice go away completely. You just need to stop believing it. When it says you can't do something, hear it, but don't let it control you. Instead of being scared, ask yourself, why do I feel this way? Is this thought even true or helpful? This small step is a start of a big shift. Awareness as transformation. The moment you become aware of the voice in your head, a shift occurs. You begin to understand the patterns and triggers that drive your inner dialogue. That which was unconscious is now being illuminated by the light of presence. This simple observation already weakens its control over you. Most people live completely identified with the stream of thoughts, never questioning the validity of their mental noise. Yet, when you observe rather than engage, you reclaim personal power. Thoughts arise, but they no longer possess you. They pass like clouds across the vast sky of your awareness. To resist them is to give them energy. To observe them is to transcend them. Thoughts are mere echoes of the past and projections into the future, never reflections of the now. Like shadows on a wall, they are insubstantial, yet we mistake them for reality. The greatest illusion is believing that thoughts define who we are. Awareness dissolves this illusion. The mind thrives on distractions, but presence has no need for validation. It simply is. The key is to recognize that thoughts come and go, yet the awareness that sees them remains unchanged. Shifting focus from the content of thoughts to the process of thinking itself unveils hidden patterns. We begin to recognize the triggers that send us into unconscious reactivity. With awareness, old patterns lose their grip, and a space opens, a space for freedom. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. It's the stillness that exists even in the midst of chaos. The mind shrouds this truth with layers of identification, but stillness reveals it. This deeper self is like the vast ocean, while thoughts are only ripples on the surface. Beneath the surface, there is profound stillness, a quiet presence untouched by external circumstances. This presence is your true essence. The greatest shift happens when you no longer derive your sense of self from the voice in your head. When you stop feeding into its narratives, its grip weakens. Without identification, thoughts lose their power, and what remains is a pure, unconditioned being. This is not something to attain, it is something to recognize. The more you rest in this realization, the more you experience inner peace. Life no longer revolves around mental stories. Instead, there is direct experience, fresh, unfiltered, alive. The natural state of being is not something to be created but remembered. In letting go of mind-made illusions, we return to what we have always been. Practical steps for freedom. Awakening from identification with thought is not about suppressing the mind but changing your relationship with it. Mindfulness brings attention to the present moment, cutting through habitual thought patterns. Questioning thoughts reveals their emptiness. Is this thought true? Who is the one observing it? Such inquiry loosens identification. Journaling allows thoughts to be externalized, creating space between them and your true self. Seeking support from those who have walked this path brings clarity. Each step creates distance between you and the mind's stories, allowing for genuine freedom. You are not the thinker, you are the observer of thoughts. This distinction is the key to liberation. The thoughts may still arise, but they no longer bind you. Instead of feeling trapped in the mind's endless dialogue, you become a silent witness. A man once came to a Zen master and asked, "Master, how do I free myself from suffering?" The master simply said, "Who is suffering?" The man pondered deeply, and in that moment, the illusion shattered. Like a dream upon waking, the mind's stories dissolve when seen for what they are. The great misunderstanding is to believe that thinking is an act of doing. No, thinking is an act of listening. You are listening to the conditioned mind, to its habits, its memories, its illusions. But to whom do these thoughts speak? Who is the listener? Trace it back. Before the thought "I am," there is being. Before the mind's commentary, there is pure awareness. This awareness does not think, it knows. It does not analyze. It is. Do not fight your thoughts. Do not try to silence them. That is like trying to silence the wind. Instead, listen. Listen without becoming the listener. Be like the sky, allowing clouds to drift freely. The sky does not grasp at the clouds, nor does it mourn their passing. It remains untouched, infinite, undisturbed. In the same way, when you listen to your thoughts without attachment, you realize they have no power over you. They come, they go, but you remain. The mind will argue, "But I must think. How else can I live in this world?" But I say to you, you need not stop thinking. Only recognize that thinking is a temporary tool, like a boat used to cross a river. Once you reach the shore, you leave the boat behind. The boat is not the destination. Similarly, thoughts are not the truth. They are pointers, reflections, but never the substance. Consider the experience of an artist who, in the middle of painting, loses all sense of self. There is no painter, no thoughts, only the act of painting itself. In such moments, the ego dissolves and pure awareness remains. This is the state of true freedom, the recognition that you are not your thoughts but the consciousness that witnesses them. As Nisargadatta Maharaj said, "Wisdom tells me I am nothing. Love tells me I am everything. Between the two, my life flows." If you like this message, I have prepared another video for you. Also, I would be happy to exchange opinions with you in the comments section. Subscribe to my channel and stay with me in this journey to freedom.